I'm Commissioner Dave Nelson. We're going to start with Summer Brody and Ivan Molina. Ms. Powers is here, Ms. Hyde is here. Is Summer Brody here or Ivan Molina? This was put over to today by Judge Evans a couple months ago. The parties indicated they were potentially reaching a agreed parenting plan. Ms. Hyde, do you have any updated information?
I have had no contact whatsoever from either party, Your Honor.
Ms. Powers, you're here for the state, but you need to know what the parenting plan is before you can really go forward, I take it.
Well, I do. I proposed final child support orders with the hope that maybe the parties would be here ready to finalize. But my recollection of the case is that the parties, when they've been here, have indicated that they're close to an agreement, but then they're not showing up regularly for hearings and have really not made any progress towards an actual agreement. So I'm wondering if this should proceed in more of a normal manner instead of anticipating that the parties will settle.
Mr. Molina was just in the waiting room. Mr. Molina, do you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, how you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
We called your case first. This has been put over several times because the parties indicated they were working on a parenting agreement. Can you tell me where you're at in that process?
Yeah, so basically what's going on is I've been trying to reach out to Miss Brody, but she's not in Longview anymore. She's been jumping all around places, and it's kind of hard to make up a point and a plan to be able to meet up with her or have her do anything with me, because for one, it's kind of hard to get a hold of her, and for two, like I said, I don't even know where she's at currently. So I was wondering if there was any way that we could just go ahead and move on to the next process, because this is, I don't want to waste any of your guys' time, and I'm tired of just sitting here running around in circles,
So the next process, if I'm looking at the file now, and it's got quite a few entries. Have you submitted a proposed parenting plan?
No, because I thought that I was going to be able to get Summer to be able to, again, meet up with me and sign the one that I have already drawn up. But like I said, that's just obviously gotten me nowhere this far. So I do have one that I can submit if that's what you're asking, though. Like, it's just the parenting plan that I have drawn up currently.
I think what you want to do is submit a proposed parenting plan with a note for a motion to enter the parenting plan. It would be entered on this docket as a temporary parenting plan. And then eventually you may have to bring a hearing in front of one of the judges to get a permanent parenting plan. But I think the next step would be to get a temporary parenting plan in place. Why don't I give you a date to come back, and then you can put on your note for your motion the date that I give you.
Okay.
Why don't we go out to July 6th?
July 6th?
Right. And so note a motion to enter a temporary parenting plan on July 6th and submit your proposal with it. Send that to Ms. Brody. If she doesn't respond, then I'll probably enter it. If she does respond, then we'll see if we need to make some changes to it.
Okay, that sounds good. I basically, and that's what I was just saying. Like, I've been trying to get in contact with her recently, and it's really hit or miss. Last time we got in contact, I was informed that she wasn't out there in Longview. So like I said, I don't know where she's at. I honestly don't even know how I would get that to her via. If I could get her to give me an address, but like I said, contact with her is patchy.
Okay. Before you leave here, Ms. Hyde, anything you want to say before we leave this case?
I wonder if Father could let me know where this child is and how this child is doing. I've had no contact.
Yeah, no, I'd be very well to tell you. She's doing good. She's currently in school right now. He starts summer next Friday, so that's exciting. But yeah, she's been very good. So now me and her, we have our own place. No more roommate situation. It's just her and I. And yeah, things have been going pretty well. She's doing good in school. She hasn't had any major issues, and she's happy. We go out and play on the weekends. I got her a little dirt bike, so I'm trying to teach her how to ride a dirt bike currently. But other than that, it's just another day in paradise over here.
Thank
So,
you. I appreciate that information, Mr. Molina.
and Mr. Molina, between now and July 6th, Ms. Height may reach out to you and ask you some additional questions.
That's perfectly fine with me.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Powers, then we'll see you back here on July 6th, and we'll see what we do with the parenting plan.
All righty, awesome. See you guys then.
All right, let's go to Blake Bowers and Sarah Rodriguez.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, good morning. And Ms. Rodriguez, I see you're here. Can you unmute yourself? She sent me a note saying the host isn't allowing, and
Okay.
I've seen that before. There's not anything I can do about that. Ms. Rodriguez, what I'd like you to do is log out and then log back in, and I think that will cure it. I'm going to take one case and then come back to yours. Okay. All right. Thank you. Now, Mr. Ash is in the courthouse. Here we go. Is Kristen Ash here?
Yep, I'm here.
There you are. Okay. All right. Mr. Ash filed a UA with the court. Did you see that, Miss Ash?
No.
Okay, it was negative except for THC. And I think Mr. Ash has brought a motion for adequate cause to not to see if the court would relieve him of the duty of doing anger management classes. And so, Mr. Ash, why don't I hear from you on that, and then we can go forward. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So, I guess I just wanted to see if I could, I've done everything else in the parenting plan. I did the SUD assessment when I, let's say about a year ago, I went into the community house, and when I got in there, I had an SUD assessment. I was only there for maybe at the community house for maybe 6 to 7 weeks. And then I moved into my mom's house in Castle Rock when I got a job. And then, I was able to do SUD for a little bit. And I mean, I let myself out of SUD because I was working. And then I still do the mental health. I still see a counselor every week, and I meet with a peer with my mental health once a week. I still attend Saturday groups. Usually if they're at the community house or if they're at a park or something, I still do those. And I can submit a hair and nail follicle test, next week today. I get paid tomorrow. So I'm just trying to do everything I possibly can, right now, so I can start seeing my son.
Miss Ash, any response?
I don't think that the anger management class should be removed because December 8th, him and his girlfriend had a domestic violence event. She ended up going to jail. And he said that she regularly threatens to kill him, and and he doesn't want a restraining order. So that's a lot of red flags. I also got her record from Washington State Patrol. I do want him to see his son. That is not my goal here. I have been on his side of this before. I've been a bad parent. I've not shown up. I've not done my due diligence or been involved. And I would like to see him follow through and become the dad that Jordan deserves, because Jordan has been through a lot, and we've worked really, really hard, dietary wise, peer counseling support, school support, to get him to where he is right now. And I don't want to lose all of that on I'm going to do good for a month and then disappear again.
Is Jordan about 7 now?
Yeah, he just turned 7.
Okay. And has there been any contact between Mr. Ash and Jordan? Telephone, video, anything like that?
Not in over a year and a half.
Okay. Mr. Ash, I usually let the moving party have the last word. So if you have any reply, you can state that.
No, that's fine. I agree with what she says. The only reason why I had asked if I could remove the anger management classes is just because they were a little spendy. But I do have a new job now. And I've been there about 3 weeks. But yeah, I can go ahead and continue with that. I'm still I'm waiting on a release of records from core so I can get you guys the stuff that I've done through them already. It just says it takes about 30 days to get that, and I'm sitting on about 26 days since I've requested those records. So they should be in any day, and I can get those turned into you guys, and it'll probably show at least a whole summer's worth of clean UAs. I just celebrated a year clean on the 11th of May, so like I'm still doing everything on my ends.
Okay. So I think we went over this the last time we were together, but there was a parenting plan entered on November 5th, 2021. And the requirements were intended to begin immediately, but for some reason they weren't. And now Mr. Ash is ready to move forward. And Miss Ash is hoping that he does. So I think the positive thing here is I think both parents are wanting the same thing, which is for Mr. Ash to be a good father to Jordan. I'm not inclined to change what the court required back in 2021. I think we're just starting at a different time frame. So as we went through before, it does require that you submit a hair follicle test.
I can do that today, tomorrow, anytime.
Go in and ask for what's called a 12-panel hair follicle test.
Okay.
And then you've been through some SUD treatment, I guess, and other treatment at core. If you could provide some evidence of that and file it with the court, that would be helpful. Additionally, you're to be evaluated for anger management and domestic abuse. It indicates that that's to be done in person, which I suspect they do now, rather than as a televisit by a licensed psychiatrist. You indicated you can now pay for that. So that requirement's going to stand. And you're required to inform the evaluator about any past drug, alcohol, and domestic violence behavior. And I would say that would be both what you may have committed and what's been committed on you. Okay. Then you're to provide those evaluations to the court and to Ms. Ash, and that all visits are terminated until you comply with that. Okay. So I'm going to set a review hearing out a month to give you an opportunity to get those things going.
Okay.
And I think probably the best date here would be on July 13th and that'll be at 9 o'clock. Once I get the evaluations in and I've reviewed them, I guess we'll have to talk about what the parties are comfortable with in terms of initial contact with Jordan. And I'm telling you this because I want you to be thinking about it. I'm inclined to have some initial contact through telephone or video, and then perhaps some supervised visits for a while. If you think the initial contact may be traumatic for Jordan, we may need to have some formal reunification counseling to assist with that. And that is, I guess I want both parties to think through that, and we can discuss that on July 13th. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Good. All right. Thank you both. We'll see you back here then.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Try to go back to Blake Bowers and Sarah Rodriguez.
Yep, still here.
Thank you. Ms. Rodriguez?
Can you hear me now?
I certainly can. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. I appreciate all of that.
Okay, so I just got her rebuttal in the mail 2 days ago,
Okay.
and I've hired a lawyer now, and I have not had time to go over all that with my lawyer yet. The appointment was too far out.
Okay.
So I need time to go over that.
Okay. How much time would you like?
The lawyer appointment is out 2 weeks, so if we could go past 2 weeks, that would be great.
Well, it'll probably be, okay. And the current parenting arrangement will not change during that time. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Rodriguez, any comment on putting this out until Mr. Bowers sees a lawyer?
I I would rather not, but I understand that he's entitled to have time to give a reply, so that's fine.
Okay. Let's go out to July 6th.
All right.
And Ms. Rodriguez, you filed a number of papers asking, I think, for child support and some other things. You will need to note a motion on those. And so since we're putting this out, what would you note a formal motion for July 6th to consider those documents?
Okay.
Because what we're here today for is Mr. Bauer's motion for adequate cause to consider whether the parenting plan should be changed. You then filed a number of other documents dealing with child support, but there was no motion made. So
I was just responding because he'd requested child support in his motions as well, so I was responding to that as well.
okay. All right. Okay. Well, we'll see everybody back on July 6th.
This
All
is Tanea Gravina, the guardian ad litem, Your Honor.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Is Mr. Wooldridge here?
I was not able to reach him, Your Honor. I did try calling the previous number I had for him and it said it was not in service. I also sent a letter to the former address I had, but got no response.
Okay. Well, I did get your report, Ms. Gravina, so thank you for getting that to me.
Absolutely. I apologize more for the delay. I didn't realize it wasn't there in the first place.
Ms. Galloway, any response to the report by Ms. Gravina?
No, she covered everything, all of the concerns I had, and she's been very thorough, very involved with me on my side of things. I know she's struggled getting a hold of Mr. Wooldridge, and his lack of participation has been a problem. I am trying to get some documents printed out and served to him. It has been a fiasco trying to do that, so I'm still working on it currently.
And Your
Well,
Honor,
go
Ms.
ahead.
Galloway had a question for me that I just am unable to clarify or give legal advice on, that she wanted to bring up today. As far as just a normal motion for default, does she need to give the full service days like a petition, like the 20 days? Or is she able to mail it, or does she need to have personal service? And I'm not able to legally advise her, and I don't know the answers to those questions. And so that's really the last place she's in, is to finalize the case. And there is not much, if any, room with legal aid for her to get free legal aid. And she has not been gainfully employed throughout this matter. And I don't have the ability to give her legal advice. So perhaps you could clarify for her that next step to finalize this.
Looks like Mr. Wooldridge was served on May 25th, 2021.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that's more than a year out. And under the statute, if you move for default more than a year after service, you have to serve that personally, or, well, you have to serve it personally.
Okay.
So if you do a motion for default, you're gonna have a process server give it to you.
Okay, that's what I'm working towards. Finances in finding one and having them be able to go and find him have been the block currently. I also had one other question, and I'm not sure if you would be able to answer that for me, if I need to call and consult an attorney. But if I file a parenting plan reflecting the requests of the guardian ad litem, oh, did it cut out?
No, I heard you.
Okay. If I file a parenting plan with that motion reflecting the changes that Ms. Gravina has requested, does that reset the timer for default, or I'm not sure how that works.
I think that is something you probably have to ask an attorney about.
Okay.
Okay. So do we want to take any steps today to implement the guardian ad litem recommendations, or do you want to do that through a parenting plan that you submit at a later date?
If you are willing to do bench orders reflecting what she has requested, I am absolutely all right with that taking place.
And Your Honor, if I may, largely what I recommended in my guardian ad litem report has already been ordered by the court, and that was kind of reflected in my GAL report, is that still has not been done and was previously ordered, and he's not having any contact with the child currently still.
Okay. So I'm going to note that Mr. Wooldridge was present on February 9th of 2023. We then put the hearing over, and I was the judicial officer then. I put the hearing over to February 16th. He did not appear on February 16th. He was here on April 27th. I put the hearing over to May 11th. He was here on May 11th. And I put the hearing over to May 25th. And he was not here on May 25th. And that's when I put the hearing over to today. So
It's kind of been a constant struggle.
he's been involved. He wasn't here on the 20. Well, let me see here. Yeah, he wasn't here on the 25th. So he certainly has noticed that this is going on. And I think I am in a position where I can adopt, at least on a temporary basis, the conclusions of the guardian ad litem. So I will enter a bench order to that effect. And then if you're going to move for default, then you'll need to take those steps to do that.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Okay. Ms. Gravini, anything further?
No, Your Honor, just one final question is just, do you want me to get that order out to mom and dad in this case after the bench order goes through Odyssey?
If you're willing to do that, that would be great. And I suppose if this goes to a trial, then your work is not completed. But if you feel you are at a point where you want to submit your fee statement, you could do that since you've now generated a report.
All righty. Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it.
Okay, take care. Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Galloway. All right, Cameron Miller and Taylor Young. I saw Ms. Young, Ms. Corey, and Mr. Kamisa, you're representing Ms. Young.
Yes, Your Honor.
There we are, Cameron. I see Cameron Miller here. Okay. Cameron, Mr. Miller, can you unmute yourself? Mr. Miller, please unmute yourself if you can. If not, let me know in the chat and we'll address it. He's not unmuting himself at this point. Let me take another case while we work out that issue, and then we'll, and Ms. Turnbull's here. I think I saw Ms. Geyer, and I see Justin.
I am actually Justin's caregiver. My name's Allie.
Okay.
He was admitted to OHSU hospital yesterday morning from the emergency room from Tuesday night. And I called the courthouse and she said that this was the best way to let you know.
All right. Do you know, you don't have to go into his condition, but if you could let me know potentially how long you think he'll be in the hospital.
Today's Thursday. I would say by like Monday or Tuesday, he would be fine to be on Zoom.
All right. Ms. Geyer, any comment on putting this over a week or two?
Yes, I have a job and I have to usually put in time off requests to get all these court dates. He already just last time added this court date because he wanted to see Talon. So this was an added on extra one. And then we have court again, July 20th, which I have time off for. I put that in. So all these little court dates, and then the other one was held up because he didn't have his paperwork in on time. So we had to set this one. And now I'm missing work for this one for no reason because apparently he can't show. It's always an excuse or a holdup. So for me, it's kind of difficult to keep asking each week for hours off.
Okay. Thank you for mentioning that. You know what the hearing is on July 20th?
Parenting plan stuff, same stuff.
Okay.
I just had court on Monday with him for a restraining order. So impeccable timing, I feel like, for him to get some.
Well, I know it puts it out a ways, but I'm inclined to put this over to July 20th to minimize the impact on Ms. Geyer. Ms. Turnbull, any comment on the timing?
I think that would be all right. To be honest, Mr. Yokel did not return his paperwork. And so I was just able to make contact with him on Friday, last Friday, the 2nd. And we did that by phone. So I completed, I asked him the questions and completed it by phone. And then he texted me, the ROI, the signed signature. And so I have just started my investigation, on his side of the case. And he does have a history of heroin abuse and prescribed pain medication abuse. And I have not been able to make contact with his drug counselor and get independent verification that he's in the methadone clinic and receive any of his medical records or anything like that. And so that would be helpful for me to be able to get that information before I make recommendations.
Okay. Well, it sounds like if we had gone forward with the hearing today, I probably was going to be putting it out till somewhere in July anyway. So I'm going to continue the case then to July 20th, and that'll be at 9 o'clock. And whoever is here for Mr. Yokel, if you could encourage him to work with Ms. Turnbull to get the information she needs, that will.
That's fine. Can I make one quick comment?
Sure, please.
His counselor did write him a letter, or Amy a letter that he was in compliance with the clinic. So I'm not sure why they're not responding to her yet, but
yeah.
We could get the letter to her if.
That would be great.
Okay.
Maybe could you call me after the hearing?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Do you have my number?
Yeah, I have his phone, so I'll look in his phone and get it from his phone.
Okay.
Ms. Geyer, will that amount of time be okay with you?
So on July 20th, we have our court date already, so it's just combined.
Yeah, whatever is already scheduled, we'll just combine it with today's hearing.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you both.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, let's go back to Cameron Miller and Taylor Young. I see Mr. Miller. Can you unmute yourself, Mr. Miller? Oh, there you go. Good. And Ms. Young is here, and Mr. Kamisa is here. And Mr. Kamisa, did you see the declaration by Chandra Muncy?
No, Your Honor, I haven't seen it.
Ms. Taylor, did you get a copy of it?
Of the what? What have I got a copy of?
The declaration by Chandra Muncy.
No, I did not get that.
Okay. All right. Well, she gave her impressions of the visit that occurred recently. So I wanted this hearing to check in on how that visit went and to decide how we're going to move forward in the future. I think what I need to do is read you portions of this. I don't want comments about it when I read it, because you may react to it, but I want to make sure we all have the same information.
Okay.
So starting at where there's a meeting at GC's truck stop, she writes, at that time, Rhonda came outside and also asked if Malaya was ready to go, insinuating that we would get into her car at that time. I also let Rhonda know that was not the plan and that Malaya and I would be in my car following them to the destination. Rhonda immediately got hostile and started saying that I was not right and that this was BS. I told Taylor to call her attorney, and then I repeated myself to Rhonda that I had a copy of the paperwork and that Malaya was not going to be getting in the car. Then apparently Malaya stayed with Ms. Muncy, and Taylor drove with her mom. They went up to Centralia. They saw some people. I think they went to the Children's Museum, or they were planning on doing that. I guess they did go to Applebee's in Olympia. And then she shares some of her thoughts that I'll read. Moving forward, I would not mind subbing for the visits. And that is because the initial supervisor was to be Cassie Salisbury, but she was ill. So I appreciate the parties working to find a substitute. I want to say that. She writes, everyone was respectful after the initial meeting. However, I do believe that there needs to be better guidelines for these visits. It was a very long day for everyone involved, and it was very overwhelming for the amount of people included. I would also like to see Taylor take control of the visits and not allow other adults to run the show or be in charge. I understand maintaining relationships are important, but I don't believe the most important relationship was the sole focus of this visit being between Taylor and Malaya. It felt like Taylor was more of a buddy and kept giving Malaya whatever she wanted to keep visitation successful. I definitely believe a visit strictly between Taylor and Malaya needs to happen to encourage the relationship and possibly have one or two locations, maybe being the apartment or a park, where there can be one-on-one time between them and establish some form of connectedness to try to keep a routine schedule. So that was her thoughts on that. I guess, well, Mr. Camisa, I'd be interested in your client's view of that visit. If you want to let her talk, or you can talk for her.
I can respond briefly. Speaking to Miss Young, her main focus has always been the child and continues to be the child. She has submitted her fee to the guardian ad litem and is hoping for an independent opinion to remove these supervised visits. As even seen in the declaration, it continues to be tumultuous, the visits. We're on our third or fourth supervisor now. If the current supervisor feels that she's unable to do it, I would just bring up again that Ms. Young's family members are able to do these supervised visits with no issues, if the court is still not inclined to remove the supervised visit requirements altogether.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, any response?
No, I don't got nothing really to say, except for it wouldn't be her family members. I'd want it to be one of those facilities. That's about it.
Ms. Corey?
Hi. So I have spoken with both parents as well as Malaya, and reviewed the records. I am fairly satisfied that the supervised visits probably aren't necessary. The last contact Ms. Taylor had with Mr. Stewart was in February. He has moved on, has a new girlfriend. She has him blocked on social media and also has a restraining order out against him. I would recommend and ask that Ms. Taylor contact the local domestic violence shelter for assistance in creating a safety plan for herself and Malaya. And based on the history of this case, going back to 2016, when it was a case in Thurston County, they had a guardian ad litem at that point, and one of the recommendations was that Mr. Miller get a domestic violence evaluation, which I don't believe has happened. I would actually like to see both parties get a domestic violence evaluation and follow any recommendations of that evaluation. And I would prefer that be with Ms. Lovely here in Kelso, if possible. I have received, as Mr. Camisa said, payment from Ms. Young. Have not yet received payment from Mr. Miller.
And I think Mr. Miller indicated he was going to make payment.
Yeah, I'm getting around to it. Okay, so the other thing, actually, I have a domestic violence impact panel already.
What do you mean by that?
I have the certificate for it and everything. I just have to go submit it.
So you've been evaluated already?
Yeah.
Well, provide that to Ms. Corey.
What year was that, Mr. Miller?
2017.
What's your thought on that, Ms. Corey?
Well, that's getting on about 6 years old. And also, one second here, I'm sorry. one of the questions in, yeah. So was that evaluation done here locally, Mr. Miller?
No,
Where was it done?
Thurston County.
Thurston County. And did it recommend treatment of any sort?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I actually would like to see that. That would be a good start.
All right.
All right, anybody else want to say anything before I indicate how we're going to move forward?
No.
All right. Thank you, everyone. All right, I want one additional supervised visit, and I want some feedback from it. So I understand what Ms. Corey's saying. There were some issues that caused me concern in the declaration that was recently filed. And I want to do something to just address those. Okay, so let me lay out what I'd like to see. So I'd like the next visit to be on June 17th, which is a Saturday. I'd like it supervised by Cassie Salisbury. I would like Taylor Young to attend that visit alone with just Ms. Salisbury. I would like you to meet at GC's truck stop at 10. During this visit, I don't want any other relatives involved. I want it just Taylor and Malaya. And once you get to the truck stop, then my expectation is Taylor would get into the vehicle with Cassie Salisbury, and you will go wherever Taylor would like to go. Taylor, you can plan the whole day. I would like this visit to end at 4 p.m. rather than 6. I'm assuming that time is going to go well. And then we'll come back here on June 22nd. By that time, the domestic violence evaluation that Mr. Miller had should be reviewed by Ms. Corey. And I'll make decisions regarding any additional domestic violence evaluations. And I'll make a decision regarding unsupervised visits at that time.
Commissioner?
Go ahead.
This is set for a final review of my report on June 29th. Can we push that out some? So that we can take a look at that domestic violence report, see how the visit goes, et cetera. Can we push that out maybe 30 days?
So how come Ms. Young isn't taking the domestic violence impact panel?
Well, she might have to.
I mean, yeah, she's got DVs on her record.
Well,
so
I'm gonna address that. The guardian ad litem is recommending that. I'm just not making a decision at this time. Okay, I'm wanting the guardian ad litem to review the material you have, Mr. Miller, and then I'll make a decision.
What happened last time?
Can we push that out to say
So-
July 20th?
We can strike the 29th. So first of all, I want to leave June 22nd because we may go to unsupervised visits after that time. And then we'll strike the 29th. And if you want to set that for July 20th, we can do that.
Perfect.
Your Honor,
Yes, Ms. Young.
respectfully, I was wondering if we could change the supervisor, because on my part, I feel like we've been over this with Cameron's supervisors and they already have their opinion on me from them. And I feel like they're giving false feedback. And I really feel like if it was at my grandparents, I would have one-on-one time. And those in the supervised visits, I really feel should not be there because
your grandparents aren't doing it. Your freaking
Mr. Miller,
grandparents
don't respond. This is directed to me.
and I've been every single time I've been doing it his way since the beginning. I've done everything that he's wanted. And I will do a visit at the place, but the supervisor place, anything, but I really feel like I don't need supervised visits. I can have one-on-one time with my child at my grandparents. And that's a safe, neutral environment for both of us, because I feel Cameron's having people who already have an opinion on me. And
they don't even know you, Taylor.
Point.
Mr. Miller, please.
I'm not gonna wait to talk this anymore.
All right.
I will do visits at the supervised center though, but I don't feel like his supervisor. I don't want his supervisor because.
So time out. I'm gonna interrupt you. So whoever is talking behind you, Taylor, you need to talk for yourself instead of having somebody whisper into your ear.
Mr. Miller.
We can all hear it.
Your Honor, I just believe that there should not be supervised visits. This has been like a year now, and I feel like I'm not getting anywhere.
Your words or somebody else's words?
The relationship between me and my child, because they're saying whatever they need to say. They have these people coming saying whatever they need to say because, for example, they said there was a lot of people at the visit. My grandparents, my mom and my aunt and my grandma came to the Children's Museum to watch her play and stuff while I had time with her. I don't see why that was a problem. But if it needs to just be me and her, I can have it just be me and her. But I feel like his supervisors don't need to be there.
They're going to.
All right,
Commissioner,
yes, go ahead.
I'm so sorry if I may. I also do have some concerns that the last supervisor was paid by Mr. Miller.
No.
Oh.
I paid for her birthday dinner.
I believe it stated that you gave her $100 for gas and things.
So I'm in trouble because I paid her way to go up there.
Go ahead, Ms. Corey.
That's just a concern that that the supervisor then feels perhaps
No.
That she owes Mr. Miller something. And I would prefer that this go to a professional supervisor to get that really less biased opinion about the visit, if that's possible, to do just a single visit. I know it does take some time to set up.
Well, that's going to push things out for Ms. Young farther than I think she wants, and probably farther than I want. The last time we were here, we agreed that Cassie Salisbury could be the supervisor. That got changed. Honestly, the Chandra Muncie declaration, I thought was a very factual declaration, and I didn't see that it was, I didn't read into it that it was biased one way or the other.
But I had 100% one-on-one contact with her. There was no me separating from her or me being her pal. And she stated that I gave her whatever she wanted. I got her ice cream and lunch. She's my kid and I haven't seen her in a month and a half. I don't see whatever I spend my money on my kid or what she wants, that has to do with me. And I don't understand what she was meaning. I gave her whatever she wanted to make her. They're sitting here making it seem like I don't have a relationship with my kid, that I don't do this. And that is not the fact. Every single time I ask her what she wants to do, we hang out all day. And it's uncomfortable when someone's following me to the bathroom, when someone's 2 centimeters away from me, saying, I need to be in ear range and know everything. You don't need to follow me to the bathroom. That's what you don't need to do. You're taking this too far. And it's getting ridiculous because it's getting to the point where they're forgetting that I'm her mother at the end of the day. I would do anything for her. And these supervised visits is just crazy because Cameron has a whole list of things he has done and put me through and all this, and everyone's just bypassing it like he's this #1 dad of the year. And he's not.
No, we're not, Taylor. Okay. And everything that is going on, you've done to yourself to take accountability for that.
Mr. Miller, just let Ms. Taylor speak.
I just really believe if I have to do visits that they should be at my grandparents unsupervised. It would just be me and her, and that is a mutual play for all of us. And he knows that.
I'm not going to change my decision. I want to get feedback from one additional supervised visit, see how it goes.
And are these the same people who wrote statements about me in declarations? Because I'm pretty sure she wrote a statement as well.
Well,
and like he said, they don't even know me.
Well, again, we had discussed Cassie Salisbury a couple weeks ago. She was acceptable then. And we're probably moving to get to unsupervised visits. I just want one more supervised visit with just you and Malaya. And I want that to occur on June 17th. And hopefully that will go great. And then we can discuss what we do going forward on the 22nd. So I'm not changing my decision on that. 17th at GC's truck stop from 10 to 4. Okay. All right, Ms. Winkles, we'll see you back here, has been requesting discovery for quite a while. And the last order that was entered indicated that if it was not replied to, that the court would enter a default against William Middleton.
That's
So-
correct. That's correct, Your Honor.
And so the order that is before me today is to enter that default. So do you want me to sign the order that was on the proposed orders? Or do you want to submit an original? Oh, we have an original.
Yes, you should have an original, and it's an order of default, but it also explains obviously that the court has tried everything in its power with lesser sanctions first.
Yes, I did read that. So I'm going to sign your order of default. And then I assume you're going to submit some orders relating to the minor guardianship.
That's correct, Your Honor. They're actually done. They'll probably be with you this afternoon. If they're not already with the clerk, they might be.
All right. Do you have any additional orders in that case? Okay. We don't have them here.
Okay, so I'll make sure to get to you.
That if you can relay those to me, then I'll go ahead and sign off on them.
Sounds good. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
And just so Your Honor's aware, I will be getting off now, but I do accept that appointment in the other case.
Okay, good. We'll be getting to that case in a moment.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Smith and Brandon Irving is here. Is Casey Irving with us? Doesn't look like it. Okay. What, let me, I believe we're here to enter the petition on the full guardianship. And I just want to note that that petition was filed on January 10th of this year, that Ms. McCoy was served on January 13th, and the father was served on January 15th. I don't know that there's been any response at this point. So does anybody have an objection to entering the order on the full guardianship?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Do we have that order? All right. We do not have that order. And Mr. Anagnosto, you represent
Parker, I represent the child.
the child. Okay. So
If you want me to prepare it, do it.
I think that might be the easiest. And if you could circulate that to Ms. Smith, and she will probably indicate on there what her fees are, so we can take care of those at the same time. Okay, so if you want to prepare that, I'm out tomorrow and also Monday, but if you get it here by Tuesday, I can sign off on it.
All right. And the basis for the full guardianship under the statute 11-130-185, it's the RCW 09004 parenting
2609-004. Yes.
Right. So it's put in the order that neither of the parents are able to provide those functions.
Correct.
The court's making that finding. Okay.
I am making that finding based on the guardian ad litem report and everything that I've heard throughout these hearings.
All right. Perfect.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Guardianship of Chappelle. Mr. Anagnosto represents Shauna Ray, and Ms. Overby is here. I know Mr. Chappelle is here. And is Shauna Ray here?
No, Your Honor. My staff has been talking with her on the phone this morning, and she just is unable to connect.
Okay. I did get the letter that you provided. I don't know that the other parties have seen it, but it was a letter summarizing her counseling at Core Health.
Right.
Recently. So is your client going to object to an emergency minor guardianship, Mr. Anagnosto?
No, not.
I'm here.
Oh, you are here. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
I have not been able to get on Zoom. It keeps kicking me out, so I had to call in. I'm very sorry.
Oh, no problem. I'm glad you're here. So I just asked Mr. Anagnosto whether Ms. Ray was going to object to the emergency minor guardianship. I understand she may have a different view when it comes to a full guardianship, right. But as far as an emergency minor guardianship, what's your client's position?
Currently, her position is that she's having difficulty finding appropriate housing for the children. She disputes that she is in a relationship, and I forget the name of the individual that Ms. Smith put in her report. She's not in a relationship, but she is in a home that's too small, and her roommate has dogs that are not nice. And so she's trying to solve her housing issues. And as in, she's working on her mental health issues. And at this particular time, she's not opposed to the emergency guardianship. She has issues with the because they're currently living outside of Shelton. Her children are outside of Shelton. She's not getting to see her children except for supervised visitation. She's gotten word that the petitioning party, Miss Overby, wants to move even further away, has concerns about that. But we want to get to unsupervised visitation. She won't take them to the home where she's living, but she wants to have to be able to have more freedom with caring for her children. Her children want to be with her, and she wants to be with them. She's working on all of her issues. The only issue that she's that's kind of holding her back at this point is this housing issue, and she's working on that. She's trying to get into housing, hopefully into the country-run apartments where she would have for children to have beds and their clothes and all that kind of stuff. So that's her goal at this point. So the emergency guardianship, we're not objecting to it. We do want her concerns addressed with regards to Miss Overby moving somewhere, and then expanding the visitation as appropriate until she can get into housing.
All right, let's just deal with whether the emergency guardianship should be granted. So Mr. Chappelle, what's your position on that?
For Miss Overby.
Okay. All right, so as to that issue, I guess Ms. Smith, you're in favor of the emergency minor guardianship.
That is correct.
Okay. So I'm going to enter then an emergency minor guardianship. I want to be clear about how long it lasts. So the initial time frame is 60 days. I'll set a review close to that date, and it can be renewed for another 60 days. But after that, it will expire. If a guardianship needs to go on longer than that, and that was what we call a full guardianship, that will need to be filed and come up for a hearing. If that's contested, that will usually go in front of one of the Superior Court judges. Okay, so I'll sign, let me go ahead and sign the emergency minor guardianship right now, and then we're going to talk about visitation. All right, Ms. Overby,
Department, are you calling from?
I don't know where I'm getting that sound. I think it may be either Ms. Ray or Mr. Chappelle.
Yeah, Dylan.
I think it was Mr. Chappelle. So, Mr. Chappelle, you'll need to unmute yourself if we talk in a little bit here. Ms. Overby, I want you to address your position on visitation, and also Mr. Anagnostou indicating you may be moving, and I'd like information on that.
At this time, I have a solid plan to move or relocate. The kids are enrolled in Hood Canal for the following school year, and that is my intentions at this point.
All right, so you don't have plans to move at this time?
I do not.
Okay. And what's your position?
At the very least, not out of this school district.
Okay. What's your view on visitation with Ms. Ray?
I strongly feel that the visits still need to be supervised. There have been several hiccups in the 2 visits that she has had. There is struggles during the phone conversations, false promises made that are not followed through with, which is very stressful to the children. Their relationship is very strained because of the false promises that are consistently made. Yeah.
Ms. Smith, do you have a view on whether visits should remain supervised at this point?
Your Honor, so it's kind of a catch-22. We have Ms. Ray does struggle with finances and being able to support herself in that regard. So the supervised visits is going to remain challenging for her. On the side of that is that there's significant challenges with consistency and stability during those visits that do impact the kids pretty significantly, especially when you look at the oldest child, Braden. He is very finite in his thinking in a lot of ways, and so that inconsistency does create a lot of angst and frustration for him. So to lift the supervised visitation, I am a little bit hesitant, but I would defer to the court how to proceed.
Ms. Ray, are you living in the Longview area right now?
Yes, I am.
All right, thank you. Ms. Ray, is there someone who could supervise the visits with you other than the professional supervisor?
Do they have to be like certified of something, or?
No, I'm thinking a family member or.
I would have family, yeah.
What family do you have in the area?
I have Justin Ray and his wife, Christina Mendez. Well, it would be Christina Ray. I have Phil Ray and his wife, Wendy.
Okay, and Christina Ray is what, your sister-in-law?
Justin is my cousin, so.
Oh, okay, so it's
right.
Related to your cousin.
Right. I would need to talk to them. I'm sure Christina and Justin would do it for sure. Phil and Wendy are more on the busier side. They probably wouldn't be able to. But I could still ask them.
So let me ask you this. How, it's probably on here just a minute. Well, how old is Paisley right now?
8.
Okay, and Braden is
11.
So, Overby, what would you think of a family member doing the supervision?
I would ask that maybe they be vetted, maybe have an interview with the guardian ad litem before setting something like that up. When the incident happened on Christmas, several members of her family came out onto the porch and cussed me and Jason out when we were just simply trying to pick up the kids for a visit for our parenting time. So I am a little concerned. I do not recognize the names of any of those people. Like, they're nobody that I know. And that makes me a little uncomfortable. But I'm not opposed.
Okay. So the guardian ad litem report indicates that Braden in particular really misses his mother. And I think I need to be sensitive to that. And by having professionally supervised visitations, we are, I am, as the court, I think, putting up some roadblocks because of the financial restraints on doing those. And so I've got the son on one hand saying, I really want to see my mom. The mom, on the other hand, not able to do it as often as she'd like because she can't afford the professionally supervised visits. And I'd like to find a way where the cost is at least reduced, if not eliminated, and provide for more time with Ms. Ray, and see how that goes. And eventually, I think we need to have unsupervised visits as an option down the road. I think Ms. Overby's suggestion is excellent. Is there any visits set up right now with the kids?
They have a weekly phone call.
Okay.
And her next visit is on the 17th.
Okay.
And that's a supervised visit.
Right.
Yes.
Well, okay. I'm sorry to have everybody come back on such a regular basis, but if I put this over to the 15th, which is a week, hopefully, and I'm thinking of Christina Ray being the supervisor, Ms. Ray. I would
Yeah.
like Ms. Smith to talk to Ms. Christina Ray and get a sense as to whether she'll be a adequate supervisor. And assuming that that's the case on the 15th, then she could start that on the 17th. But it is possible that she will not be appropriate, and then we'll have to continue with the professionally supervised visits on the 17th. So I'm not prejudging this. I'm just accepting Ms. Overby's suggestion that there be some inquiry. Okay. And hopefully if it works out and she's willing to do it, then that will open the door to perhaps some more visitation. Okay.
And the visit on the 17th, my understanding is I believe it's 2 hours, but I might be wrong on that.
Okay, we'll look at that. I'm probably going to expand that time frame if Ms. Ray works out, if Christine Ray works out.
Right.
The limitation of the 2 hours is because of the cost of the professionally supervised visit and their availability. So, okay, so I'm going to sign the order on the emergency minor guardianship, and then we'll see everybody back here in a week. Okay.
Yes, you're on.
All right. Thanks for working. All right. And are you Heather Kaywood?
Correct.
Was your former name McCracken?
No.
That was not you. Okay.
Or was my daughter's.
Oh, that's your daughter's. Okay. All right. Well, that helps. So I understand the mother is deceased.
Correct.
And you've indicated the father's rights are terminated, although I didn't see anything in my state resources that indicated that. Do you know where that occurred or when it occurred?
Well, he is now actually in incarceration for having contact with Jaden, and they revoked. And I spoke with his probation officer, and then I also called the jail, who he has a counselor, I believe, at the jail, and her name is Kayla Palmer, if I remember correctly. Anyway, I left her a message. She called back and said, no, he is to have no contact, because I didn't know, because he was calling. I didn't know if they needed, were able to have phone conversations. But he's in there for a sex offense, and he's not allowed.
He's not allowed to have contact.
Correct.
Let me just check the file here. Well, being told he has no contact is different than his rights being terminated. And the main difference is he needs to be served with your petition, and he has a right to appear in this action if he wants.
And that means different things. I don't know if I should call back to the prison then and talk to his counselor there, or I don't know. He can't even be around Jaden, and he's not. I could be in trouble if I talk to him.
Sure, I understand that he can't be around her, but I don't see where his rights have been terminated. There's a difference between being terminated and being restricted, I guess is the way I would put it. And he's clearly restricted.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, then he still needs to be served. So what I'm going to do is appoint somebody called a guardian ad litem to work with you on this case, make sure the right service occurs, and then to interview you also to make sure that it's an appropriate home for Jade. Okay. So that person is going to be Sherry Farr, Farr. I will give her your contact information, and she'll be contacting you. I'm going to continue the immediate minor guardianship order that has already been entered.
Okay.
And I think what I'm going to do is set a hearing about a month from now. That would be on, let's set it on July 6th.
Okay.
And hopefully then Ms. Farr will have a chance to chat with you. She'll give you some directions in terms of serving the father, and hopefully he served, and then maybe we can go forward at that point.
Perfect. Thank you. So right now, I still have the full
Go ahead. What was that?
I'm sorry. So right now I do have the guardianship still, and we'll meet again for full.
The court, let me let you know when here. The court entered in an immediate order for guardianship, which gave you the authority to be a guardian. Actually, I signed that at that point. I'm going to continue that order until July 6th.
Okay.
And if we have to, we'll continue it again. But that will give you all the authority that you need. Okay.
Oh, all right. And then she'll just contact me, the ad litem, and
yes, the guardian ad litem will contact you.
okay.
And Ms. Moxley is here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Your Honor.
I have a Trudy at Deer Point Meadows on the phone. Is that person related to this hearing in any way? Okay.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. They're in the waiting room. I'm going to leave them in the waiting room. I don't recognize that name. All right. So I'm going to hear from Ms. Kearney first, and then if Ms. Moxley wants to address the court, she can. And then Mr. Birch, I'll go to you. Typically, if a emergency minor guardianship is opposed, we need to have a hearing, but I usually have some investigation done. But I want to hear from the parties first, and then we'll make some decisions on how we go forward. Okay. All right. Ms. Kearney, so tell me why you're asking for the minor guardianship.
Yes, Your Honor. So I'm asking for the minor guardianship due to the mental and physical abuse inflicted upon Dalin from her dad and her grandmother, Cinder Birch. In my declaration, I have provided text messages from Dalin talking about her grandma beating her up. Text messages on the night that David had choked and slapped Dalin in the face, telling me that I just need to pretend like it never happened. He said, just act like it never happened. Have a good night. Like, he was pretty much telling me if I wanted to see her, since I'm not related to her, I needed to pretend like him assaulting her never happened. In addition, Your Honor, Dalin had reported that her father had locked her in her room when she came back after the Mother's Day weekend to try to get some of her clothes. He had spoke with Miss Moxley on the phone. They got into an argument, and due to that argument, he refused to let Dalin leave. They do share 50-50 custody. There is no parenting agreement at the time that all this took place. And so we went ahead and started filing for emergency guardianship, Your Honor. And he, in return, decided to file a no contact order between me and the child to prevent the mother from signing emergency guardianship over to me. The judge in the case for the no contact order found no evidence to support any of Mr. Birch's allegations. She dismissed the no contact order. Mr. Birch provided no evidence nor incidences of me stalking him. In addition to that, there is a restraining order, and he's already broke it 4 times, Your Honor. He has been having his friend Brett's daughter, Bella, contact Dalin at school, telling Dalin to call her dad off of Bella's phone. His sister, Cassandra Birch, has been calling Dalin, saying, oh, if you want to talk to your dad on the phone, I can put you on the phone right now. Sorry. So he's broke it at least 4 times already by third-party contact. I'm just concerned about the welfare of the child when she's with him, due to when he drinks alcohol. He's not always physically abusive to her, but whenever he does drink alcohol, he is. But he is verbally and mentally abusive to her on a regular, consistent basis. I tried to get her into mental health counseling and therapy, and he was super against her getting any type of outside help. Despite that she was sexually assaulted while in his care, she never got treatment for her sexual assault. She reported to me and her mother that she was sexually assaulted, and she reported it to her father, and he then brought her over to the person's house that sexually assaulted her and made her apologize to them. She was 9 years old at the time, Your Honor, and she mentally has been through a lot of, emotional trauma as far as being with her dad after that. So I'm just, I'm really concerned about the welfare of Dalin. When she's with me, she's 100% safe. I go to school full time. I take 4 classes at Lower Columbia. I work at Core Health in Longview. I'm a drug court graduate. Like, I've turned my life around completely. Some of the opinions and things that Mr. Birch has about me are old opinions. And though that was the kind of person I may have been when I wasn't in recovery, but I have over 4 years clean now. And today I'm a productive member of society. I graduated drug court and I got my life back. I started, doing volunteer work, community service hours. I really changed as a person. And I've dedicated my life to recovery these past 4 years. And Dalin reached out to me after I had no contact with her for a while because of the situation with her father. She had reached out to me for help. So I feel that, I wasn't going to ignore. I'm also a mandatory reporter, Your Honor. So any allegations of like abuse or anything like that, I have to report it.
Does Dalin have her own phone?
No, but she is with me and she can speak with you.
No, I don't want to talk to her, but I just wanted to ask that one question.
The phone that she had was the phone that her father bought her, and that's another concern. Is there's pictures on the phone of bruises on her neck from him choking her. She tried to get the phone, but he's withholding it, probably due to the evidence on the phone. And I was asking for a subpoena or a warrant for the cell phone because on the iCloud, because there's evidence of the assault on the phone. But because Mr. Birch is in possession of it, obviously we can't access it.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ms. Moxley, anything you'd like to add?
1 second. Yeah. Nope. I'm having a hard time. Okay, there we go. Hi. So Kristen and also David's sister Cassandra had reached out to me probably about a month ago to report that Dalin needed to be with me, that she's experiencing a lot of trauma and a lot of other things going on over her dad's house, right? So I have them bring her to me and we go to Kristen's house, and we decided that the emergency guardianship would be the best point of action right now, simply because I'm seeking drug treatment and mental health treatment. And I also have some things going on in the court, trying to get my cases resolved and things like that. And I feel like Dalin is safest with Kristen at this time, since she is the only person that I know that's close enough to Dalin that has a stable living environment for her to be in, and for her to be able to be happy and not having to deal with all the extra nonsense over at her father's house. I mean, she's clearly miserable over there, and there's a lot of things going on that I'm not sure exactly what she's exaggerated and what's not exaggerated, but I feel that the abuse is definitely happening because she's clearly traumatized by it. So I feel like this is probably the best route of action for both of us to go right now.
Okay, thank you.
And I have a bed date for treatment coming up on Saturday to go to inpatient, and then I have my mental health evaluation also coming up, so I can seek my mental health treatment.
All right. Mr. Birch?
Hi, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
At this time, I really feel like my daughters don't really know what to say. I think she's trying to play both sides of the fence because of how absent her mother's been in her life. But I think my best bet, is there any way I could seek counsel for this?
I need to find out a little bit about your income to see if you qualify. So
I have no income right now.
Okay.
But I'm not opposed with her staying there. I have not tried to get a hold of her at all. I'm actually very stressed out over this whole deal because this is the longest I've gone without even telling her good night or good morning. I just need, I don't have court experience. I don't know how to represent myself. And all these are false accusations. I have some proof that these are false accusations. So, I mean, I want what's best for Dalin, and it's made up. I need to seek counsel.
Let me just make some notes here before I go on.
I actually did file a parenting plan on the 17th of May, and the next day, I had to call the cops, and the cops sent me to Kristen Kearney's house, the Longview cops. They had me meet with Vancouver police, and had me take my child from there because they know who her mother is. And they told me to go get my daughter because they felt like she was in danger. And then the next day I went to put a restraining order on Kristen, and they filed all this stuff against me for just hearsay. They can have her phone. She can get her possessions. I have not tried to withhold none of Dalin's possessions from her. They came here yesterday asking me for a pair of shoes for Dalin after they've already took all of her clothes. And I didn't know, I think it was Kristen Kearney's boyfriend. And, I mean, they said they'd come back and get clothes for her, and they never showed up and got clothes or nothing. But, I've been completely compliant. I've not tried to get a hold of her at all. I want to. I mean, it's my daughter. I'd like to talk to her, but I understand the consequences of what's going on. So,
right. Anybody else want to say anything before I talk about what we're going to do? All right.
Okay.
Let me write this.
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to say one more thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Dalin actually wanted to speak, and I didn't know if that was allowed. Because
she's 12 years old.
Yeah.
She is allowed to participate at 12 in these proceedings. So if she wants to, I will hear from her.
Oh, not at this time, I guess.
At some later time.
Yeah, some later time.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So Mr. Birch has asked for counsel. He indicates he's not working at this time. Therefore, he qualifies, and under the current statute, if a parent requests counsel, then I'm required to appoint somebody. So I'm going to appoint an attorney named Donald Esau. And Mr. Birch, he should be contacting you in the next few days. I'll let him know that I'm making the appointment. Okay?
Alrighty.
Your Honor, I would like to request counsel as well. I can make payments at work, but I can still pay.
So the statute does not provide for counsel for petitioners. But the next step, though, is it does provide for counsel for minors who are 12 and older. So yeah. I'm going to appoint an attorney for Dalin, and that's going to be Erin Winkles. And again, I'll give Miss Winkles contact information so she can talk to her. Third, I'm going to appoint what's called a guardian ad litem to advise me about what is the best interest for Dalin. And that person is going to be Tina Day, and she will be contacting both parties. Fourth, I'm going to extend the immediate minor guardianship order. And let me, oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. Just give me a moment here.
Your Honor, I had a question about the extension. Do I need to go get a new extension showing that? Because I gave it to her school and they're going to want an updated one.
Sure. I'm going to draft that. Let me see here. Who did that?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Then we have to set a review hearing, and I'm
is there any way I could get contact over the phone with her or anything like that?
So I do want to address that, but I think I want Dalin to talk to her attorney first so that I can get a sense of what she would like and what she's comfortable with. So typically I would put this out a month for a lot of these investigations to occur, but I think I should put this out 2 weeks to address that specifically, which is, should there be any contact with you, Mr. Birch? All right.
It's just really hurting me.
So 2 weeks from now would be June 22nd. Well, the note we'll make is that it's specifically to address any contact with you, Mr. Birch. And I need some feedback from both the guardian ad litem and also Miss Winkles. Okay.
All right.
Miss Kearney, when Miss Winkles contacts probably you to talk to Dalin, make sure you put them in touch. Okay.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Is there anything else that anybody would like to say or has any question about?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, good. We'll see you back here then in 2 weeks.